Sector Alpha 9, Triumvirate Space. The command deck trembled, alarms shrieking in panic as ancient protocols screamed one word across 1,000 star systems: human. For centuries they were myth, a forgotten spark in the void. But now, a warship carved from nightmare itself, bearing the mark of Earth, drifted into orbit like a ghost, demanding vengeance. The last thing the Admiral heard was a voice, low, unrelenting, cutting through the static. "This is Commander Kale Reyes Valoric of the Deliverance. Lower your shields, and I'll make this quick." They thought it was a glitch. The alert pulsed once, then again, stronger, flooding the command decks of the Triumvirate's most fortified sector. An anomaly, surely. No human had been seen for centuries, and the galaxy had not mourned their absence. But the signal was clear, undeniable. Alert. Enemy warship identified. Humans are here. High Admiral Scarex stood motionless, 4 black eyes narrowing. His tendrils flexed in agitation as his sub-commanders fumbled with holographic projections. The image sharpened, a single vessel, massive, jagged like a blade forged from nightmares, breaching the outer defenses of Sector Alpha 9 without resistance. No insignia, no transponder codes, just a name etched in the ship's dark hull: Deliverance. "Impossible," Scarex hissed, his voice like steel scraping stone. "Humans were eradicated." A junior officer, scales paling, stammered, This one comes from the silence, Admiral." The command deck fell into silence, save for the hum of power surging through the ancient triumvirate war systems. The silence. A void beyond space, beyond reason. Nothing survived there. Nothing should. "Open a channel," Scarex ordered. Static. Then a voice, smooth, low, dangerous, cut through. "This is Commander Kyle Reyes Valoric. You've had your reign, lizards. Lower your shields and I'll make it quick." Gasps erupted, followed by chaos. Scarex crushed the console beneath his claws, sparks flying. "Lock weapons! Deploy the Black Armada! Annihilate him!" But it was too late. The Deliverance moved, not like a ship, but like a living thing, weaving through their defense grid as if it knew every flaw, every weakness. Plasma bolts and quantum lances licked the void, missing by fractions as the human warship closed in. Kale stood on his bridge, eyes burning like twin stars. His crew, augmented, silent, loyal beyond death, waited for his command. He didn't need to shout. His presence was enough. The enemy had blinked first. It was always the same. "Lock the dreadnought," Kyle said. "Locked. Strip it." The Deliverance surged, releasing tendrils of dark energy that wrapped around the lead triumvirate vessel, peeling away its armor like flesh, exposing its core to the cold vacuum. The alien ship imploded, fragments scattering like ash. On the triumvirate command deck, screams filled the air. "Retreat! Fall back to the core!" Kale watched, unmoved. "Cowards," he muttered. "Always running." He opened the channel. Again. "Scarex, you think this is a war? No, this is judgment. I am the consequence of your lies. Earth remembers." No response, only the hiss of failing systems. Kyle turned to his second-in-command, a towering figure of metal and flesh. "Prepare the silence engine." The figure nodded, voice a mechanical whisper. "The core will burn." Kyle's fists clenched. Memories flooded him. Earth in ruins, the betrayal of the triumvirate, humanity forced into exile. They thought they had broken them, scattered them like dust. But they had forgotten the human soul, the fire that refused to die. As the Deliverance pushed deeper into enemy territory, resistance stiffened. Fleets converged, desperate to halt the advance. Kyle relished it. Finally they fought. Finally they feared. "Commander, Enemy reinforcements inbound, his officer reported. Kyle smiled. Let them come. The battle raged, a storm of light and death. But Kale was a force beyond them, his ship a ghost tearing through reality, bending the laws the Triumvirate had so carefully crafted. Their order meant nothing here. Chaos reigned. Kale's voice echoed through the enemy's systems, hijacking their comms, invading their thoughts. You engineered our fall. You built your empire on our bones, but you forgot one truth. You cannot kill what was made to rise. With each destroyed ship, Kale grew stronger, not in body but in legend. The name spread like wildfire. Godhammer, the harbinger of humanity's return. And then silence. The battlefield emptied. Wreckage, floating in the dark. Only the Deliverance remained, facing the heart of the Triumvirate's domain, the core, a colossal construct pulsing with energy, guarded by the last of their might. Kale stared, eyes narrowing. This is it. He reached into his coat, pulling out a shard of black crystal, a piece of the silence itself. It pulsed in his hand, alive, hungry. Time to break the lock. The ship shuddered, engines flaring as it drove toward the core. Defensive grids activated, beams of light scarring space, but Kyle didn't flinch. Full power! Silence engine! The Deliverance roared, energy spilling into the void, ripping apart the fabric of space. The core trembled. Scarex appeared on the main screen, face twisted in rage. You would destroy everything? You're mad! Kale leaned forward, voice low. No, Scarex, I'm just human. And with that, the shard fused with the ship's core, igniting a chain reaction that shattered the boundaries of reality. Light consumed the core, and then nothing. When the light faded, only echoes remained. Kale was gone. The Deliverance was legend. And across the stars, a new signal pulsed. One word, repeated over and over, human. The wreckage still floated, silent monuments to failure. But Scarex wasn't dead. He stood before the high conclave now, breathing hard, trembling with rage, as the other Triumvirate leaders looked on. None spoke, none dared. The image of the Deliverance still burned in their minds. Scarex's voice cracked through the chamber. You sat idle. You called them myths. I told you they were coming. You told us stories, hissed Lord Avenith, thin and cold. Now you bring war to our core worlds. Scarex leaned forward, fists clenched. This is no war. This is extinction. One ship, one man, and we have nothing to stop him. High Preceptor Vorix lifted his gaze, slow and calculating. Then we end him before he reaches the core. Scarex spat. You tried. I watched 10 fleets die. Deploy the Black Armada, Vorix ordered. Already done, Scarex growled. It won't be enough. Then you will die with them, Vorix said, and the chamber went dark. Kyle stood at the center of the Deliverance's command deck, staring at the map of the system ahead. Red dots multiplied, flashing in rapid succession. The Black Armada was gathering, forming a blockade between him and the core. He tilted his head, amused. His crew awaited orders, but he stayed silent. They knew what came next. Bring me the Arbiter's signal, Kale said finally. The AI flickered to life, voice smooth, arrogant. You cannot win, Valoric. Stand down. Kale smirked. You think this is about winning? I don't care who holds the throne. I care who remembers. You will be erased. Kale stepped forward. I've already been erased. You just didn't notice. The signal cut. The crew moved. The Deliverance shifted course, barreling, straight into the teeth of the Black Armada. Shields flared, energy crackled, but Kyle was unshaken. Open fire. The ship's weapons unleashed, silence giving way to chaos. Enemy ships closed in, but Kyle didn't flinch. He waded through their formation, carving a path with ruthless precision. They weren't prepared for this. They never would be. "Commander, hull breach on deck 4, one of his officers reported. "Seal it! Keep pushing!" A massive warship, the Archon's Fist, loomed ahead. Kale narrowed his eyes. "Target the core! One shot!" The shot fired, piercing the Archon's defenses. Like paper, detonating its heart in a flash of white-hot light. Pieces scattered. The blockade trembled. "Send the message," Kyle said. A burst transmission, short, brutal. "Your walls are dust. I am coming." Panic rippled through the enemy ranks. Some fled, others stood their ground only to be torn apart. Kale thrived in it. The harder they fought, the more relentless he became. "Commander, multiple enemy squadrons inbound. Let them come." He turned to his crew. "We are the last breath they will ever fear. Do not hesitate." The deliverance surged ahead, tearing into the fleet's heart. Explosions flared, debris scattered like shattered dreams. Kale moved from station to station, eyes everywhere, mind racing faster than the ship itself. One of his officers staggered. "They're jamming! Cutting comms to the core!" Kale grabbed him by the collar. "They know we're close. Cut through it." Do it!" The officer nodded, scrambling back to work. Kyle turned to the viewport. The core hung in the distance now, a dark star pulsing with forbidden power. He could feel it. The silence growing louder. "Prepare the silence engine." The ship's systems groaned as power built. Lights dimmed and a hum rose from the depths. "Black Armada is reforming, Commander." "Good," Kale muttered. "They should witness their end." A new figure appeared on the screen, High Preceptor Vorix, eyes burning with hatred. "You will not pass." Kyle's laughter filled the bridge. "I already have," Vorix snarled. "Your people are dead." Kale's face hardened. "We never died. You just buried us." Vorix's image vanished in static. Kyle turned to his crew. "This is it. No retreat. No surrender. We end this now." The silence engine roared, and the deliverance became something more. A shadow tearing through light, a storm breaking the stars. The fleet ahead crumbled, unable to hold. Kyle's ship sliced through, every shot a death sentence, every maneuver a challenge. The core loomed, vast and terrible. Kyle's hands clenched into fists. "Fire the breach weapon!" A pulse of dark energy shot forth, striking the core's shield, fracturing it. Again, cracks widened. Again, the shield shattered and the core was exposed. "Prepare for final run." The deliverance shook, systems strained, but Kyle was focused. The crew stared, awaiting the final word. "Let's show them who we are." The ship plunged forward, straight into the heart of the core's defense. Kale's voice rang out one last time. "We are the storm." The core was closer now, a dark monolith suspended in the void, pulsing with ancient energy that defied reason. Kale stood at the center of his ship, hands gripping the railing, feeling the vibration of the silence engine surge through the deck. The enemy was broken, but not beaten. Not yet. "Status," Kyle barked, voice cutting through the chaos. "Shields at 60%. Hull integrity compromised on levels 7 through 9. The silence engine is at critical threshold." His officer reported. "Push it harder." "They won't hold, Commander." "They don't have to," Kale snapped. A warning siren shrieked as another wave of triumvirate warships dropped from hyperspace, a desperate attempt to stop him before he could breach the core's final defenses. Kale's eyes burned with focus. "Time to impact? 3 minutes." "Good," Kale said, cracking his neck. "They brought more toys. Let's break them." He keyed the comms. "All batteries fire at will. Focus on their command ships. No survivors!" The deliverance roared, guns igniting the black with blinding fury. Enemy ships peeled away, some disintegrating under direct hits, others veering wildly, unable to stand against the relentless onslaught. Kyle moved like a storm. through the bridge, barking orders, adjusting strategy as if it were second nature. He didn't hesitate. He couldn't. A crackle of static filled the air before the enemy's voice pierced through, familiar and bitter. "Valoric! Turn back, and we'll spare your crew." Kyle laughed, bitter and sharp. "You don't understand mercy, Vorix, and I don't ask for it. This is madness," Vorix snarled. "You will die here, and the last memory of humanity will be your failure." Kale leaned closer to the console, voice cold. "I'm not here to survive. I'm here to make sure you don't." He cut the channel, turning back to his crew. "All power to forward shields. Prepare for breach. Commander, if we overload, the silence engine now—" "I know," Kale said. "Do it." They obeyed without question. They had followed him this far, through hell and silence, through death and fire. This was the end they had signed up for. The ship groaned as the engine screamed, light bending around the hull, pulling reality thin. Kyle could feel the pressure, the weight of everything they were about to do, but he didn't flinch. Fire. "Breach weapon!" The blast hit the core's outer shell, cracking it like glass. Another hit, and fractures spread across its surface, leaking energy like blood. Kyle watched, silent now, as the last of the enemy ships formed a wall between him and the core. A wall he intended to break, ram them. The officer's eyes widened, but he nodded. The Deliverance surged forward, tearing through the blockade, enemy ships crumpling under the sheer force. Explosions tore through the black debris trailing behind them like broken dreams. "Core breach in 90 seconds, came the call. Kale turned to his crew, voice steady. "Get to the escape pods." "No. That's an order." "No." Kale paused, eyes meeting theirs. No fear, no hesitation. Just resolve. "All right then," he said, almost smiling. "Let's end it together." The ship dove, skimming the shattered remains of the last defense ring. The core loomed, massive and alive. Kyle approached the console, pulling the shard from his chest. The fragment of silence that had changed him, that had made this all possible. He placed it into the engine's core, the ship reacting instantly. Energy surged, lights flickered, systems screamed. Target the heart of the core. Locked. Kale's hands hovered over the final command. Now. The Deliverance fired, the shard amplifying the blast, tearing through the core's layers, striking its heart. The structure convulsed, reality bending around it, waves of energy rippling through space. Kale stood tall, the storm raging around him, and for a moment, he was still. Vorix's voice returned, broken and desperate. "You fool! You'll destroy everything!" Kyle's voice was calm, resolute. "Good." The core exploded, light swallowing everything. The light engulfed them, a blinding storm of energy, ripping through space, matter, time, everything. Kale didn't flinch. His hands remained steady, gripping the rail as the Deliverance trembled under forces it was never meant to survive. The silence engine howled, its scream folding into the roar of the collapsing core, and still Kale stood tall, eyes locked on the screen where the heart of the triumvirate writhed and broke apart. "Status!" he demanded, voice steady against the chaos. "Core integrity failing," came the reply, strained, raw. 70% collapse and accelerating. Deliverance is not holding. Kyle nodded once, his mind clear. This was always the end. Not survival, not escape, only victory. Absolute, final. His crew braced, systems flickering, and one by one, they turned to him, waiting for the command they knew would come. "Hold course. Keep firing," Kale ordered. "But Commander, if we don't pull back, we finish this." There was no argument. They fired again, silence-infused blasts slamming into the core's exposed heart, each strike tearing more of the triumvirate's power from the galaxy. The stars seemed to dim around them, as if the universe itself were holding its breath, waiting. A voice crackled to life, warped by interference, laced with desperation. "Kale, you don't understand what you're doing!" Kale's jaw tightened. "I understand perfectly, Vorix. You're unraveling the fabric of order. The core holds the balance. You destroy it, and there's nothing but chaos." Kale's eyes burned with purpose. "That's the idea. You'll die." Kale stepped closer to the console. "Then I'll die free." Vorix's voice faltered. "There will be nothing left. Not for you." The core split, a cascade of dark energy spilling into the void, cascading across the system like a tidal wave. Kale turned to his crew, the ones who had followed him into this storm, faces set with grim resolve. "Time to see what's on the other side," he said. The Deliverance shook, its hull fracturing, but still it pressed forward, deeper into the heart of destruction. Systems failed, alarms screamed, but Kale didn't break. He was the storm now, and the storm didn't fear the dark. One final burst from the silence engine, and the core collapsed inward, a singularity of light and power devouring everything in its wake. The Deliverance was pulled into the vortex, the ship breaking apart as Kale stood at its center, arms wide, eyes unblinking. As the light consumed him, Kale felt no pain, only release. The galaxy went quiet. The core was gone, the Triumvirate's power shattered, their fleets adrift, leaderless. Across the stars, systems blinked into silence, ancient chains broken. There was no order, no law, only the echo of what had been. But from the void, something stirred, a signal. Faint at first, then stronger, pulsing through the wreckage, carried by the silence itself. "We are not gone. We are risen." The voice was unmistakable. Kyle, speaking not from death, but from beyond it. Across forgotten worlds, old bunkers opened, and from within, the remnants of humanity emerged. Not broken, not beaten, but reborn. Survivors of exile, hidden in the cracks of the galaxy, now free, and they heard his call. We were made to endure, made to resist, made to reclaim. Ships long thought lost lit their engines. Weapons forged in secret glinted in the light of new suns. The Triumvirate's former slaves, once taught to fear humans, now looked to the stars and saw them differently. Kale's name became more than legend. It became a banner. In the ruins of the core, a singularity remained, pulsing with the last breath of the Deliverance. From its center, the silence whispered, and those who dared listen heard his promise. "This is not the end, it is the beginning." In the dark, humanity rose, not as conquerors, as storms. OU said, "Write a compelling story script focusing on a single act. Ensure the script is concise, engaging, and to the point without repeating any sections. Maintain high-quality content and adhere strictly to the specified word count of 1,000 words. Avoid including scene descriptions or headings. The narrative should flow seamlessly, delivering impactful dialogue, character development, and plot progression while maintaining clarity and coherence throughout. Story structure should be perfect, simple, and to the point. Make it audience engaging. Write minimum 1,000 words, Section 5 ChatGPT said the void had changed. Where once the core dominated with its silent authority, now only a scar remained. A wound etched into the fabric of space itself. Across the shattered territories of the Triumvirate, systems flickered in and out of contact, their networks severed, their rulers vanished. The empire built over millennia had collapsed in mere hours. In the absence of control, fear spread like fire, but not for long. A signal pierced the silence, steady and clear, transmitted through the debris fields, bouncing from dead satellites and fractured relays. A voice, unmistakable, resonant with purpose. "You thought we were dust. You thought we were forgotten. But we remember. We were patient. Now we return." The survivors of the Triumvirate listened, horrified. They had underestimated him, dismissed the warnings, believed in their invincibility. They thought they had erased humanity long ago when they first discovered Earth's potential, but Kale had shattered that lie. He had ignited the one truth they couldn't suppress, humanity's refusal to kneel. From the depths of hidden worlds, the last Terran fleets powered up. Their engines, long dormant, roared to life with a fury that echoed Kale's final act. These ships, concealed from the Triumvirate's eyes for generations, emerged like revenants, guided by the pulse of his legacy. The captains, hardened by exile, no longer feared the dark. They embraced it. Each had received the final coordinates, embedded in the silence, etched into their memories by Kale's voice. They converged on the scar where the core once stood, orbiting the rift, their hulls painted with the black of vengeance. No formal orders were needed, no great council convened. They already knew what to do. Across the comms, a single phrase, repeated, carried from ship to ship, burning into the minds of every soldier, every pilot, every soul ready to reclaim what was stolen. Break the chains. The remnants of the Triumvirate, scattered and desperate, attempted to regroup. In a last act of defiance, they broadcast their plea for order, urging the surviving systems to hold fast, to resist the chaos. But the galaxy wasn't listening. The people had seen something they never thought possible, the fall of gods. Kale had shown them that power wasn't permanent, that fear could be turned back on those who wielded it. And now, as human warships tore through the last of the Triumvirate strongholds, the myth of their dominance crumbled. They had ruled through calculation, precision, and logic. Kale had shattered them with fury, instinct, and will. In the heart of the scar, where time and space still twisted from the core's destruction, a new structure began to form, forged from the wreckage of the Deliverance and the remains of defeated fleets. The silence didn't just consume, it recreated. The shard Kale had plunged into the core pulsed with energy, and from it a signal continued, growing stronger. This is not conquest, this is reclamation. As the first of the new Terran colonies took root in liberated systems, the old barriers fell. Species once under the Triumvirate's heel now stood beside humans, not in chains, but in solidarity. They didn't need to be told what Kale had done. They had seen it, felt it, and now they moved forward with the same fire. In the void, where Kale's final stand had rewritten the laws of the galaxy, his legacy remained. The silence didn't take him. It made him part of something greater. His voice, no longer bound by flesh, echoed eternally. You thought we were chaos, but we are. The balance. The Triumvirate's last commander, cornered on a dying world, sent a final message, a warning to any who would listen. He's not gone. He's everywhere. There was no answer, only the hum of engines, the rise of a new era, and the weight of a truth too long buried. Humanity was here to stay, not as rulers, as storms.